Ah, my goddamn foot. Ugh. Okay, let's see how this thing goes. Audience, we'll see you in a moment. Get ready, get ready. Restore chat, restore chat, and move chat. Yeah. Hide chat. Chat's there. Edit. That's bullshit. Cool. No chat. Double timestamps. My chat. Information. What if I refresh this page? Hey, buddy. Go away, you bastard. Double timestamps. Hide chat. Ugh, what is this thing? Streaming? Am I not streaming? That is the question. In health. According to this thing. At Warsmith. I'm going to be doing some tutorial stuff. Hopefully, Maya allows it. Hide the chat in here. It. Yes. Let's do this, shall we? Okay. I'm going. This channel, copy this. Okay. Music. Music. Okay. On the bass boosted bass. Go to URL. There we go. Tweet a roo. Can you see my stream, Warsmith? Hopefully it's doing something. Fuck knows. Okay. Actually. Why? Okay. Down, you'll see and hear this. Okay, people. Good day, good day, good day. Well, for me it's good night. For you might be a good day or start in the morning. Who knows what's happening really. Today I want to go over or start a little streaming project that I've been wanting to try for a while now. Okay, so I want to model this guy. It's a Samaritan from Hellboy. I've been teaching now for a number of years now. I've been using this model as like a basis to start like modeling and texturing and basic proper workflows within Maya. So my idea was to actually do a stream with this so that I have like an online record of it, if you could say, that I can hopefully do something new after this. And if it's well received, I guess, carry on with more different streams. Yeah. The music you're hearing in the background is from Boosted Bass channel. So give them a like and subscribe if you do like what you're hearing. I'm using this just as a background noise thing. I hate that weird sound. Just dead silenceness. Okay, so first things first, I am going to go and set up my Maya. Okay, I'm going to be using Maya 2017 for this like tutorial series, if you could say that. Okay, Maya 2017. If I'm not mistaken, it is Maya 2017 update 3. There we go. Yeah, Maya 2017 update 3. So if you want to follow along, do that. First things first, let's go and just get us some workspace here. I'm going to go and hide all this dodginess at the bottom here. We're not animating. Don't need animation. We are not going to be scripting too much. I'm going to take all this stuff away. Okay. So a quick and easy way to get that is using Maya's hotbox. If you hold on spacebar this in any of your viewports, you're greeted with this hotbox. In the little right-hand quadrant, we're going to go range slider, turn that off. Time slider, turn that off. Command line, turn that off. The bottom section I can leave because that's kind of a little help menu. That's up to you. Next thing I want to hide is my shelf because don't need that because you have access to everything in here. So I'm going to go to shelf or again hotbox. Shelfaroo. Cool. Close this bad boy down. So that gives us a lot of more screen real estate to fart around with. Next thing I want to turn on, if you guys don't already have this, is the poly count guide because I like keeping an eye on this. And also, if numbers don't add up here, you know there's issues somewhere in your mesh. So you find this inside display, heads up display. Oh, there's my grouparoos. And you'll find this in poly count. Okay, just turn that on. If you want it, don't want it, it's up to you, I guess. Okay, whoa, this sound is getting loud. Let's maybe set it down at there. Let's go into boosted bass. Bastard, give me your audio. There you are. Yeah. Fuck it. Fuck it. Okay. That. So, next things we do in Maya, we work in a Maya is like a project-based application. So what happens is you need to create projects for you to understand where your associated files are. So you're gonna go to File, Project Window. So inside the project window, you'll be greeted with a cool little project. And I'm gonna go New. I'm gonna call this Samaritan, which is the gun we're gonna be modeling. If I go back to my Captain Pinterest, copy this guy over, back to Maya. Samaritan stream projects. Project. Okay. I'm gonna be placing it God knows where. To put it in one of my drives, online drive, streaming assets. Pick a new folder. Streaming project. There. I'm gonna drop it in there. The next thing I want to do, I know for a fact I'm using different file type or different file folders like PSDs, all that kinds of jazzies and sectioners. In this project window, you can drop into custom data locations, and in here we're going to add a new file rule and call this Photoshop files. We're gonna go do this PSD underscore files. Next thing I know I'm gonna be using is gonna go Mudbox files like that, and I'm gonna go Mudbox files, and then I think I'm gonna need more for this. Now, as soon as you do that, I go and navigate now to my folders, streaming projects. You see, there's my Samaritan project now all set up. Inside there, you'll find all the associated folders that Maya would need, and there are our two little custom data locations. Okay, so that's how Maya now kind of set up for now to start doing work. Make it a little bit bigger. There we go. Okay. A few little settings I want to actually be using in Maya to kind of help me kind of overcome the bane of your Maya existence of having it crash on you way too many times that any application should. We're going to be setting up a few fail saves for ourselves where it kind of automatically saves. It also creates incremental saves and all that kind of jazzes for us. You find this inside Windows, settings and preferences. Okay, and in this window, so I can make it bigger. There's a few little settings we're going to be changing here. First things first is inside Files and Projects. I'm going to go enable autosave. I'm going to also enable prompt before save. The reason for that is as soon as it hits the time limit of, say, this currently set at 10 minutes, a little window pops out asking if you want to save yes or no. I'd like having that because I might be farting around a tad and I've done changes that I don't want to save, so I can just cancel it. And then it kind of after another 10 minutes or so, it will pop up again. Another thing I would like to do, I limit them kind of auto saves, because if you don't, it'll kind of keep on creating saves until you run out of space. I work on an average of 25 saves at 25-minute increments. Okay? The next thing is that now. Where the hell are you? Applications? No, that's not it. My undos, I also go, rather than the undo limit to 50, I go to infinite, so that you kind of have unlimited undos, which is quite beneficial in the software as well. Okay, where the hell? Polygons. Next, these are just display features I like having on while modeling because it helps you determine issues when you start getting into more complex meshes, finding unmerged vertices and so on and so forth. I'm going to go show hard and soft. I'm going to go to borders and also increase that size to 4 pixels so they're quite thick, the open borders. Okay. In here it should be selection. Okay. Another thing I also like enabling is inside your selection, polygon selection method, rather than whole face, I want face centers. Because that's also going to go and show you a little dot in the center of your polygon faces. So if you land up in a scenario with faces on faces, you can actually troubleshoot it without pressing the 3 or smooth preview key and all that kinds of jazzes. So this is me now in this kind of section, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, I think that should be all. Wait, click save. Awesome. The next thing I want to do is inside your Control S options. In Maya, every little menu item, firstly, if it has a little square next to it, means there's additional options you can change for that menu item or tool. If I click on Save Scene, I always, as you can see, I've set up incremental save, limited it to 25. Every time you go Control S, it doesn't just rewrite your existing scene. It kind of makes a backup of your current scene into a backup folder, and then only it rewrites, which is pretty cool. Because now we're going to have 25 backups incrementally, and then 25 backups automatically. Therefore, you have always about 51 scenes available for you kind of fall back on when shit hits the fan. So I'm going to go save and close, so just to remember those settings. So those are kind of the base settings I like using within Maya. You kind of cover your own arse, so things, if it does die on you, you don't have to start all over again. Okay. So now with that all said and done, let's go set up some image planes. In this, I use Photoshop for this whole procedure. I found this cool little... I found this cool little image online by just doing a Google search on Samaritans. I forget, but anyway. What I also did was I've created a Pinterest board for this project. So if you want to follow along, you can kind of look through here, finding your stuff, and if you click right at the bottom there, I've added the pin for it, and you can actually find the original artist that made this. Okay, so always give credit where credit's due, guys. Don't just steal work, because that's being dick. Okay, so let's go and go File, New. A general rule of thumb when you're generating image planes within Maya, you try and work in a square resolution. It just makes your life a lot easier. So I'm going to go 1024 by 1024, 72 dpi. Resolution on this doesn't really matter because it doesn't pixelate within Maya. So I just use a 1K map and get it over with. So we are greeted with a 1K map. Now I'm going to start taking these images across. Now, with this is a pretty interesting thing. You start off, in my opinion, with the image that has the most information, because you'll be basing the other views based on the one with the most information. So in this case, we have the most information on our side view. So I'm just going to go in here, just kind of select this bad boy. Oh, this is so difficult all on my tablet. Okay, copy this guy, paste it over here. Control T to kind of scale this bad boy up. As we do this, it's probably going to pixelate in this thing, which, ugh. Maybe if I go canvas size, maybe not 1024, but let's go pixels 512 by 512. Doesn't mean that is just ugly. Okay, hold on. Now I'm not greeted with the ugliness of pixelation in Photoshop. Control plus to kind of zoom in. Now I need to find the center of this canvas. 512 divided by 2. 256. And lucky Photoshop kind of snaps to it. And this guy. I gotta get it there. That should be fine. Next thing I want to do, let's go say multiply. Didn't change shit. Same drag, but I don't want to go blind while modeling. I don't like that. Okay, again, you can kind of. Yeah, that's a little bit cleaner. I like it. That's your side view. Right. Let's go top view. Copy. Paste. Again, I'm going to drop this thing's opacity down to like a 50 for nowsies, because I want to scale it up and kind of match its size. So if I look at the back here, the handle kind of matches up. So yeah. I'm looking for landmarks now. And with these landmarks, I'm scaling this guy up. I can actually... Looks like a... Oh, that's my war machine group, guys. I do apologize, but it's fine. Cool. That looks fine. So I'm going to take it up to 100% again. Now I want to drop this thing in the center, which I think it's done that for me. Nice, a Photoshop. Okay. Next image. Front view. So I'm going to use my lasso tool. Control D to deselect that. Oh, don't do that. Very excited here. Actually, amazing reference images. Can't believe I haven't found it yet. Did not find this earlier in my modeling stuff. It dropped it in the center, which is pretty handy. Again, scale this bad boy up. Drop in some guides myself to kind of get some landmarks going for myself. It can go up. Got a landmark. Should have a landmark. Down there. Okay, that looks like it could work. Capacity 92. Okay. Julia's magic wand. Select that, delete that, Control D to deselect. Sweet. Now, if you do not rename your layers, guys, there's a special place in hell for non-renaming layer people. So let's go rename side underscore view. Again, I use underscores for spaces. It comes from my coding background. So this is going to go top view, and then this guy is front underscore view. View. Do I want the bottom? Ugh, I have it. Might as well do it. Okay. Control C. Paste. Now the cool thing with this, I can actually use clean this thing up. The many images. Fill it up. Okay. Let's accept those changes. Up and bottom underscore view. All these guys off because I need that. I don't know if I got a multiply. Let's go do that for all. The reason I'm multiplying, guys, because if you're going to be working many hours in Maya, you don't want your retinas being melted. Easy fun. How's it streaming? How's the stream looking? Warsmith, if you kind of put up your quality, how does it look? Let me type it in. Oh. Okay, look. Okay, so I've got this, and I'm going to go to, well, first I'm going to save this, Control S, save my PSD. Where did I put this now? C, there, users, there, OneDrive, on this. Yes, that is the goal, Warsmith. That is the goal. Now where the hell's my OneDrive? OneDrive. Streaming projects, Samaritan, and remember I made my PSD file. There we go. In here, I'm gonna go just orthographics layout. Okay, I don't want to copy. I want to keep layers. Sweet. Yes, maximize compatibility. Now I'm gonna actually start saving images. So I'm gonna go save as. Drop this down to some JPEGs. One up. Now, when it comes to where you put certain images in Maya or for Maya projects, anything you're going to be using as a source, this is pretty cool because Maya, the people already were smart enough to do this for us. Anything you can be sourcing in the creation of a project or 3D model goes into source images, okay? So I'm going to go orthographic layout. I know that's my side view, so I'm going to go side underscore view. Okay, click save. Yeah, maximum quality is fine. Now I'm just going to go through all this. What's the shortcut for this? No. Control Shift S. Sweet. Here's JPEG. One up. Images, side view. This is going to be my top view. Top view. Yiparoo. Next one is going to be Control Shift S. This is going to be front. Front view. Front view. God damn it. This is my bottom view. Force. JPEGs, front view. Ow! Oh, good God. Let me go back in here. Images. View. Bottom view. Sweet. Now, as you can see, I've got my images that I need to build stuff. I can now go and close this. Now I don't want to save anything. I can close that. I'm going to keep my Photoshop open just in case. You never know when I need to go come back in. Thank you, Leandra. Okay, so now let's see what's happening in here. Now we actually have to start bringing in our images into Maya. So we're going to drop into our 4-pane view, which gives us our tops, front, side, and perspective. If you don't know how to get there, it's this little button in your toolbar, which is a little handy. So we can just start. Now, I want to make sure my origin is the same distance from my camera in all views. So you go Shift A to kind of bring everything into focus in all active views. If you just press A with your mouse pointer over a certain view, it'll only bring into focus everything in that view. So we're going to go to File, Image Plane, Import Image. That was the front. Was it the front? Yes. Front. Click Open. Now Maya's going to be friendly enough to do this. Side, Image Plane, Import Image. Side, and then if we want all we have it, we might as well import image onto that now. Top view. Okay. Looks like everything is in. I'm not going to go add in my back view. It's not really necessary for now. Now, next little tidbit of information when modeling. If you know it's going to land up down the pipeline, which you should always be under the assumption it will be, you tend to model with your object's front side facing inside the positive Z. If you look at your bottom left-hand side in any viewport, you can actually see your world axis. As you can see, Z is pointing screen left. And my gun is pointing backwards. So I'm going to go press E on my keyboard. So I'm greeted with my little rotating gizmo. If you hold down J, it'll snap in little 15-degree increments. I just want to rotate this guy so it's exactly 90 degrees facing backwards. Go back by pressing, if you're tapping spacebar, you can kind of, it hot swaps to the last active view configuration. Now with that in mind, another thing you tend to do as a little rule of thumb, you always model with all objects inside the positive realm in your Y. As you can see, it's kind of below my Y, kind of going down in the origin, in side view. You can see a section of my gun is down below, like below the 0 mark in my Y. I'm going to take my side and front view and just move them up so everything is kind of up in space. Next thing I want to do, I don't like having my image planes chilling like in the origin, so I'm kind of move them back. So now I tend to always move them back all of the same. So let's see, this guy is in the X. I'm going to go -50. This guy, -Z, -50, and then this guy, -50. It's just a little bit OCD kicking in. Next I want to do, I want to make these guys a little bit bigger, so I'm going to go scale all of them. You know, how much 10 is going to be more. Yeah, 10 works. Now the problem lies not being a ooh. Okay, so now we are greeted with our images inside of Maya. I'm gonna grab these guys again for scene cleanliness. First thing I do is inside my outliner, which for some strange reason doesn't want to be here. Go. Why is there not two of them? There we go. I got my image planes in there. As you can see, they're not labeled properly. Again, rename stuff, people. Rename. So naming convention I kind of got used to. Of a prefix of what it is, like an explanation of what it is. So this is my front view using camel captation, front view image plane 01. The reason I put 01 at the end is there's only one of them on my scene. This guy is 01. 5 view space. This guy is 1 home top view. Okay. Again, if you want to really be anal about it, you can group these images together. So Control G will create a group, and then you can go image planes GRP 01. GRP stands for group. And last but not least, with all these guys selected, I'm going to add them to a new layer. So you got 3 layer options. So that's moving your layers, hierarchy. Maya doesn't really care about that. Create a new empty layer, and this one creates a new layer and places the selected objects inside that layer. So I'm going to go do that, and then I'm going to go image planes underscore L for layer. Make it yellow, why not? Okay, and then I'm going to lock this guy down. So you've got your visibility toggle. Switch your visibility on and off. Then your third little box here is template mode, which kind of gives you a wireframe of whatever. And then R is for reference, which you can actually see your image planes, but as you can see, I can no longer select them. The outline, why not the... That's pretty snazzy. Yeah, I'll leave it like that, it works. Okay. So that's my scene set up now. Got image planes dropped in there, kind of all pointing and facing the correct direction, and all that stuff. So what I tend to do is I go to File, Save Scene As, and then I'm gonna save an initial scene called Setup. So if I ever need to kind of come back to the image plane mode for some odd reason, I can. So I can go Setup. And one big note, guys, never save a Maya binary. It's just a more unstable, I wouldn't say unstable, it's just if things hits the fan, to try to recover a binary file is basically impossible. I tend to use my ASCII file because it creates a little text document actually, which is pretty rad. Click save, boom. Yes, I'm using a student version because I'm using it as demos. Cool, and then I actually go and start the file save scene as. Now, I go and I use my naming convention is kind of what I'm doing. When I did it, I cannot carry on. So if I'm modeling, I go modeling and I put in the prefix of modeling, a suffix of the date this file was created in. So I'm going to go 15 March 2017. So every day when I start afresh or continue modeling in a project, even if I don't do any changes, whatever, I open up, say, the 2015 one and say start tomorrow again, which is the 16th of March. I open it up, and then I go File, Save As, and I change name to 16 March. So I just don't have backups in the sense of auto saves, incremental saves. I have day backups as well. The same thing goes as soon as I'm done modeling, I go to texturing, I change the prefix of modeling into texturing, and the same kind of concept. I was texturing on that day, and that day will have all its incremental saves and all that kind of stuff. So I'm going to do 15 March, modeling phase, boom, yes. Now if I go inside the project, inside my scenes, you'll see setup is there as well as the modeling. Now if I go Control S to save stuff, yes, I know it's a student version, bastard. There's my incremental saves, there's that date, and this where it starts incrementing. And as I said, I set a limit to 25 incremental saves. Okay, and the cool thing, it creates a folder based on your scene name. So on the 16th of March, you'll have a little folder 16 March and all its increments in there, which is pretty handy. Okay, so see how this thing is going. No, that's what I want. Yeah, people are actually watching. It's handy. Ugh, I don't want that. I can actually see my own delay here, which is pretty fancy. Yeah, I'm going to stop that thing. I can float. What's happening here? Now I'm just really telewagging around. See how this looks. Yeah, sweet. Especially watching. Close this. Minimize that. Okay, now let the modeling commence. Huh. Alright, so let's see what's happening. Interesting stuff's happening. First one I'm seeing that kind of. Okay, peeps, let's do this. I'm gonna go to my side view. So I'm gonna be drawing some topology in here. So start with certain things. I'm gonna start with the trigger guard, and then the trigger, and then we'll take it from there. Well, looking at the trigger guard, if I had to think about yeah, if I look at myself. Now if I had to look at this, what Maya's shipped with a bunch of primitives, like built-in primitives. So I go back to my shelf. We've got a sphere, cube, cylinder, cone, plane, torus, pipe, all those kind of sexinesses. So if I had to look at this, this is kind of a misshapen pipe shape that I can start with. So I'm gonna, with that in mind, actually start with this. So I'm gonna turn off my shelf again. I go shift right click. As soon as Maya enables me, I'm greeted with all my creation tools. I am gonna go. For some reason, pipe's not in here. My blind. No. Pipe's not in here. Oh wait, there's pipe, but the icon isn't the same. Okay, drop it in here. Pardon me. Rotate it, hold on J so it snaps in increments. I'm going to turn on wireframe and shit by clicking this little button here so I can see my wireframe while working. Okay, scale this guy up. I'm going to go to my channel box. Thickness. If you hold on control, so a little neat trick. By highlighting the words inside your channel box, a middle mouse click and dragging in your viewport creates like an interactive slider. As you can see, it snaps in like weird increments. But if you do the same thing while holding down control, it gives you, haha, funny, more control. I want to drop this guy in here. I'm going to go see-through mode. Now I've got something happening here. Add a tad. I'm going to go to face mode by right-clicking face mode. Okay, so I'm going to delete this. God damn you, Maya object mode. Next thing I want to do, I want to delete what I don't need. Pressing F will focus on this guy. I want to delete all the back faces. Oh, my bane of my existence. Cool. Now I'm going to go massage some of these verts into submission. To kind of get back to the shape that I need. Okay, Alt left click, well on this view won't do it, but Alt left click will orbit around, so in my perspective, Alt left click. Okay, orbits around. Alt middle mouse click, pans around. Alt right click, dollies in and out. Now there's a difference between dollying and zooming. Scrolling on your mouse physically zooms in and out. Alt right click, dolly. Dolly refers to an alt, well not traditional camera movement, which means physically moving the camera backwards and forwards. So yeah, so in this view, because it's an orthographic view, you cannot orbit or orbit around your object. And take go. Okay. I'll just kind of cleaning topology up. Massaging them verts. Massaging. You see, need more resolution. It's pretty easy now with my shift right click. You have this little nifty tool, multi-cut. And with it, you can just like ninja slice through everything. As you see, you can click outside and drag over your mesh. It'll just cut through everything. After you add resolution, guys, massage them. So add resolution, tweak your verts or tweak your topology. Don't just leave balls to the wall, go crazy, add a shite load of res, and then hope for the best, because trust me, it's a lot easier massaging say 20 verts than 200 verts. And a lot of my students kind of forget that. And then what happens if you need to tweak hundreds of verts rather than tens of verts, you can put it that way, I guess. You're gonna land up with a very lumpy surface. Yeah, well, and lumpy is never good. Okay. I also want to drop in a center line here, just to have a little bit more resolution. Shift right click, multi-cut. I'm going to drop it down in here. So one of two ways you can do this. You can literally just click on each edge and draw it in manually. That's spacing to undo. Or you can hold down Control and Maya will kind of do its thing. If you hold down Shift, it will kind of snap in increments. I want to go 50%. As soon as I click, it drops in that edge loop for me, which is very nice of Maya to do. Wow, the bar mapping happened. Sort of fun. In all of my years, I never seen someone corrupted so quick. Lately, I'm feeling like I'm being haunted by all of these demons that I got inside of me. Pressing G will repeat last tool enabled, so that's my multi-cut, dropping into resolution. Yeah, add resolution, tweak resolution. Cool. And I ain't never going back there. If it's the last thing I'll ever do, like fuck that. But now it's R.I.P. because it's over and you're dead to me. You just a memory that I can't break, but I can't. Kinda always try and keep an even distribution of topology. It's gonna help you down the line doing UVs and sculpting and painting textures and stuff like that. And it just keeps produces a better looking model when it comes to taking it down the pipeline for the next person. You should always consider the next person down the pipeline, because the next person's work is kind of dependent on how well you did your job. And as a modeler, everyone down the pipeline kind of Kinda... Everyone down the pipeline needs a decent model, like the rigger, the texture artist, the animator, the lighter, all those guys. It's dependent on how well you produce your model. There's a lot of stress on a modeler's shoulders in the sense of everyone's reliant on how well he did or she did their job. Okay, so I've got that going for me now. So now I've got it nice and clean. Again, OCD guys. Trying to keep the transitions nice and clean. Like here there's a little kink, so I can go cheap focus, shift right click, multi-cut, I can drop in an edge loop in there. Now with an added resolution, I go tweak resolution. Okay. Again, guys, moving stuff around is W shortcut key on your keyboard. E is for rotation, R is for scale, just for those guys who don't know. Again, this little series, I guess you can be beginner / intermediate, because there's some things I'm not going to really cover. This is kind of, if my students want to come and rehash what I did during a lecture, they can kind of come here and fart around and watch a video and kind of slander me on the interwebs if they really feel like it, if they had a bad day with me after a shit out session because they didn't do work. They can probably come and do that. Or they can hopefully come and learn more stuff and rehash what I, or like retake notes what I covered in class, which is like kind of the goal. So it's like this, I wouldn't say supplementary, but if they miss something in class, if I went over it too quickly or something like that, this like, I wouldn't say substituting a lecture for them to kind of miss lectures, because that would be just be stupid, but to kind of recap, if I put it that way. So that's if any of my students are out there, shout out. Box, you're on my way. Okay, so this is this object kind of sorted out. Now again, I can now, because I've been graced, with a front view, I can actually see how thick the thing is. Okay. Now with the entire object selected, I want to extrude. Shortcut key for extrude is Control E. You get greeted with a little gizmo, and I can play with thickness. Okay, I'm gonna go push this thing back into the negative world. And yes, your mesh is gonna go black, but that's because it's inside out technically. Now, W for move tool. I've got that space still selected. X for grid snapping, so I can snap it to the center. Delete these centered faces. Okay, so now I've got some actual 3D-ness happening. Face mode, I'm not going to need faces. Press Q to switch off your manipulator, for those who are wondering if it ever gets in your way. Now I just want to invert or reverse the faces here. So selected faces, shift, right click, face normals, reverse normals. So now it's the proper way. Okay, so now we've got some thickness happening, which is pretty cool. Okay, again, wireframe on shaded, X-ray mode, so I can actually see my mesh. Now, based on the image plane, if you kind of look at the image here, you see there's some brownness happening there. Okay, that is beveling taking place. So, I'm going to do some beveling on this thing. So go to edge, select the edge loop. I'm going to do 2 bevels, the inner and outer edge. Why not? Let's be daring. Let's be daring. Okay. Shift right click, bevel edge. We are greeted with a little pop-up. Now again, fraction refers to how thick the bevel is. So I go perspective here. Oh. There we go. Fraction refers to how far these kind of 2 edges kind of go from one another. Segments adds more resolution. I want it round, so I'm gonna go. That kind of gives me the roundness I need. Yeah, or yeah, let's go maybe 3 segments. Fraction. Looks like something could work. How does this inside go? Okay. Like it's done its job properly. Okay. Now, if you guys can recall back in the beginning, we added a little option or enabled a little option inside the preferences here, inside polygon display. That hard soft S option. Now, in practice, while I'm now seeing it, if you look at the model here, the little dotted lines refers to soft edges, and these solid edges refers to hard edges. And if I had to go now and show you what those 2 edges look like, if I switch off wireframe on shading, you see that hard line. It looks like an issue in the mesh, but it's just, that isn't a hard edge. That's just Maya's way of interpreting via the lights and stuff, lights inside your viewport, and this is how it displays hard edges. I want it to be all soft, this entire object. So I can go shift right click and then soften, soft hard edge, and then just go soften everything. And now that little display issue is gone. Everything is nice. I get that nice rounded shape that I wanted. That little root. Vertex. Nice. Cancel. Go and maybe edge. Grab that edge. Bevel it. Fraction. Or something. By. Okay, that's fine. We'll sort out that dodginess that's happening there. Okay, as you can see, my mesh one maybe shit again. Stop doing that. The vertex, grab that vertex. If I grab this section of the gizmo, it'll move it as if I'm in a side view. Pretty cool. This guy is great. Another cool little trick you can do, you can slide verts on edges. If you hold down C for curve snapping, must click on that little edge, it'll slide along that edge and it won't deform your mesh like insanely in the sense that like actually pushing it in or out. Soften all these normals again. Soften, soften, sweeteroo. Now again, go through your mesh, look for a little dodginess like that. Again, like I mentioned in the beginning, the cleaner you keep your topology and edge flows, the better. And I need to somehow disable that stupid Windows key. Okay, so I'm just sliding around. Go again. Again, guys, it's depending on how OCD you are, I guess. When it comes to modeling, I tend to be OCD version 2.9, like insane. Passive. Just to keep my mesh clean, because I have been given a bad model in the past, and trust me, it's not something you want to live with. There's also a cool little feature in Maya. If you hold on W and left click, got all your move tools in here. So if you go transform constraint, you can actually go and surface slide this thing. It's the same kind of dealio, so now I can just move these edges and Maya keeps them on the surface. So if I try and pull this thing up, I can't because it's stuck on that surface. So again, to help you kind of speed up your workflow, so I can go and just drag these guys out, facing them a little bit more evenly. Okay. I can go that down, up. If you guys are liking the tunage, please let me know. If you don't, you can also let me know, I guess. But then the problem with that is you need to give me a better alternative. You can't just moan for the sake of moaning, because that's just stupid. If you have a problem, give me an alternative. And also, if you see something me doing something and you are a modeler or 3D person, drop a comment and then yeah, we can kind of discuss how would you do this type of scenario. I'm always up for learning something new because, like I said, I'm a lecturer, college lecturer if you're in the States, a varsity lecturer if you're in South Africa. And I like having more information to give my students because every person's workflow is different, every person's mindset is different. So I land up with students that kind of want to have a bit more input, in a sense, like not just have my opinion. So if I can give your opinion to them and maybe a different kind of workflow, that would be great. Okay, so that's kind of sorted out this now. And grab all these guys and let's light them up. Okay, now just switch off sliding mode, hold down W, left click and hold it down, transform constraints and switch it off. Now I no longer have sliding option. Okay, this object looks quite done. Wireframe unshaded. Sweet. Now I want to mirror it across, so because as a modeler we tend to be little lazy shits. So we tend to model only one half of the guy and then mirror it over, and then we can go in and make it asymmetrical by adding little bumps and scratches and different kind of topologies happening on this guy. So now with this object selected, you can go one or two routes. You can go to mesh, if I'm not mistaken, mirror, there it is, mesh mirror. If I click it, boom, it mirrors this guy. But just as a side note, I moved this object's pivot to the center vert. To do that, you tap the D key to get to the move pivot tool, and now I'm snapping to a vert while holding down the V key, middle mouse and click and jiggle on a vert, and it'll snap to that vert. And then tapping D again to switch off a move pivot tool. So I can go to mesh, mirror, or I can go to shift, right click, mirror, there we go, and then it'll mirror this thing across. Okay, therefore having this guy mirrored across. What is this? Why are you complaining about Warsmith? What's going on? Yeah, Warsmith, it's fine if you're just watching. I'm kind of recording this retrospectively for people that might be watching it in the future. Okay, so now with this object now kind of done, I like having a little bit of, it looks like blur. So if I go here into my Pinterest and go look at my reference images that I have here, there's something interesting to look at. I wonder how big this image is. Show me high res. As you can see, it kind of tapers down to a point, and it's thicker in the front, in the back, than it is in the front. So with that in mind, I'm going to do the same kind of deal here. So it's thinner in the back, because remember you need to put your finger over this thing, and thicker in the front to kind of protect your finger. It's called a trigger guard for a reason. So now with this object selected, I'm going to use an animation tool to kind of deform this guy, because you could have modeled this thing and kind of now go in vertex mode and try and select these vertices and scale it flat and kind of do it that way. Oh, see, there's my autosave option. Yes, I would like to autosave. Okay, but there's an easier tool in Maya called the lattice tool. You'll find this inside the deformations tab inside your modeling module. So Maya has different modules. So inside modeling, deform, lattice. I'm going to open up my channel box. Now, as you can see, this lattice has resolution. It's now 5 in this case, 5 in the T. I don't need that many, so I'm going to drop that down to 2. I want it to kind of just have subdivisions, because I want subdivisions in its length. I want to maintain whatever I do here to the back only. So if you add a subdivision in here, let me just show you. Add a little, god damn you bastard, lattice points. Lattice point. If I now grab these two and scale, you can see it's kind of uniformly and nice, doing a nice little fall off on its own, but it's containing that deformation to just the back here. If I do this now to the top here, see, it kind of does its thing. I'm going to grab these verts, or points, lattice points, and drop those down. I'm getting a much better, cleaner model without having to go and do it all manually by vertices. Now, the cool thing about the lattice, if you like the shape, you delete its history. If you don't like the shape, you grab the lattice and delete, and the object goes back to its default original shape. So I'm just going to do that because I like the shape. Now, with the object selected, you go and delete history via 2 methods. You can use the shortcut key of Alt-Shift-D, and it'll delete history. Or you can go to Edit, Delete by Type, History, as you can see, Alt-Shift-D. Now, it removes the lattice but keeps the object that you've modeled, which is pretty handy. Okay. So I've got this model now. Next thing I like doing, I tend to have layers, so objects have completed. Also, I tend to clean up the channel boxes, so I go to Modify, freeze transformations, and modify center its pivot, so this guy now is clean. I can also go trigger. That's way too many G's. Trigger guard. How do you spell guard? 001. Who knows how to spell guard? I don't think that looks wrong. G U A guard. That looks right. Anyway. Now with the object selected, create a new layer. I'm going to go completed geo, completed geo underscore L. Now the cool, crappy thing about this stupid little pop-up, it doesn't like you having spaces. You have to manually do them. I'm going to go black. Cool. Now this guy's on that layer. I'm going to go lock that layer down. So now it's there and I can't select it, which makes my life a tad easier. Save, yes, Peru. Let me get some juice. The nectar from the gods. Coca-Cola. Should get a sponsor. That would be amazing. I see the sound's gone of the music. I guess I should add to the next track. Let's do another hour mix, and then I'm gonna call that done for after another hour. That'll be a 2-hour broadcast, 30 minutes. Go to boosted tunage. One, you bastard, reload. Let's go to boosted songs, base boosted tunage. Find another hour track. Let's do this one with the rims. The rims. Yeah. God damn it. Okay. Yeah, that looks a bit clean. I like it. Now the next little part I said I would want to do is the little actual trigger part. Now again, you can start off with a primitive and kind of beat it into submission. Thanks for the spell check, Morsmith. Oh, that means I spelled it right. Sweet! Box. Yeah, I spelled it right. Fuck yeah. Okay. But rather going in and using a primitive and trying to beat polygons or verts into submission, I'm going to use another tool in Maya called Draw Polygon. So shift right click, or not draw, create polygon. There it is. Create. Now I'm going to very dirtily go in and draw this guy. Not being too concerned about res or vert placement. As soon as I press enter, it generates a very ugly engon. Okay, so an engon is a polygon face with more than 4 sides. And if you're like me, engons, you should never be left with engons. You should always aim to have a perfectly quadified, if that's even a word, piece of geometry. And we refer to quads, that's a polygon face with 4 sides. And then of course you get a triangle, which the name suggests is a quad with a polygon face with 3 sides, which is also very frowned upon. In my social circles, you kind of get thrown out of a group to do that. And they might bullet your paper your house, I guess. Okay, I've got a very ugly piece of geometry, but we're going to be adding resolution as we go. Now with this object now as it is, I'm going to go into shift, right click, multi-cut. Let's go to this. Go to vertex mode. I can actually see the vertice. That, and if you click and drag on an edge, and you drag it towards a vert, and it will kind of snap. Click, and this is what I do. You can, guys, if you're good at this, you can actually do that, then it's on a vert. And then if you right click, it completes that edge cut. There to there, there to there. Right click, right click, right. Oh, there's a vertex. That's a quad up there. I don't have a quad here, so I'm going to go do that. Flickaroo, and then pop one in there. So I've got 2 quads. Stop that window. So I might need to add a bit more resolution to get this a bit cleaner. Why did it go through? Oh, there's a vert, that's why. Keep that. G. Full channel. Okay, G, multi-cut. Let's go drop one in there, drop one in there. Drop one. Now let's go massage them verts. There are shortcut keys to get into the different component modes. If I'm not mistaken. Oh, what did I do now? No. Not mistaken. There we go. Edge selections on, vertex selection. F8 for object selection. Okay, cool. So F8 goes back to object, F9 to verts, F10 is for edge mode, and I'm assuming F11 is face mode. Let's go to edge mode. Or if you want to, you can use the modeling toolkit. You can go in here and go and kind of go the modes you want to go in. Or you can go multi-component, and then you kind of just grab as you please. So now I'm just again massaging some verts, getting things in place. So, in the description, you can actually see of this video all my social medias, my Pinterest, my personal website. It'll be much appreciated if you actually go in. Ugh, where's the multi-cut? There we go, multi-cut. Much appreciated if you like, follow, subscribe, and all the little places that you can. All the support I can get is worth it. And spreading the word for good modeling techniques and animation and rendering and God knows what else I'm going to be doing on this channel. Live streaming. My original idea was just calling it the mess around channel, where I just open up whatever the day and just literally go do fuck knows what. Okay? What me. And kind of just like in the day in the life of a multimedia designer or art. There are so many different channels online, and kudos to all of them for being there, and also thanks to all of them that I've learned all the techniques I've learned, put me in a position where I can actually teach others, which is amazing. I really enjoy teaching. Gee, got that guy in there. I'm in multi-component, don't do that. Again, I'm going to go as high detail as I can on this guy. I want to aim to get like a photoreal render and like super high res, well, super high res term I guess, model for like excellent turntable. I'm not going to aim for game res model. I'm going to be aiming for like production, like movie or film or something, to kind of get super high res, to get decent renders, so I can actually start teaching lighting and texturing and then go into rendering stuff. That guy there, kind of clean. I might need more resolution here. This is should be rounder here. But wait. When in doubt, look at your reference. Go away, you bastard. Go away. Okay, when in doubt, check your reference. Where's reference of trigger guard? Or trigger, not trigger guard. Well, there it comes that way and kind of flattens out. Nice, this out. Actually, such a bad habit. It flattens out like this. And it's round in the front. I'm gonna need that. I can. So, Warsmith, what are you thinking of this? Is the stream running cool on your side? Oh, guys, check out Warsmith's channel. He's actually doing some gaming stuff, which is pretty rad. If you're interested in some gaming things, just watching him fight around in the game world, please do subscribe to his channel. Hopefully he's friendly enough to give me a shout out when he's streaming. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge. Ha ha ha. Hopefully he's actually listening. God knows. Okay, so we've got a weird misshapen sperm thing happening now. Hopefully this is not what sperm actually looks like. That guy. Okay, now I know. Well, not know. Know is all good. But a video somewhere where that's a video. Is that a video? Look at this thing. It looks like there's. See, it has a little beveled edge here. You kind of, for gripping purposes, you kind of be soft on your son. So I'm assuming if I had to. I wonder if I can do a very, very ugly drawing. Web. Oh, let's go that canvas. So if I had to check this thing D for D. How big is this? Okay, so from the front view, I've got my trigger doing this. But it has this rounded sections coming in here for your trigger pulling pleasure. I want to try and get that kind of working. So it's rounded like this, and then it goes, of course, there's the gun. So from the side view, does that. Yes, as I draw terribly on the. And then that lippy is here. I need to start using my tablet rather. Okay, so that's kind of the idea. So I'm going to get that shape. I need topology for that shape. I go back here. It's round about here. I'm going to use the multi-cut tool, and then little rule that I kind of do, or thing that I do, I draw in what I want or need, and then I go fix it later. So it's kind of does that. So I've drawn in what I want, but now I've produced a triangle there and a triangle down there. Draw in what I want, worry about the rest later. Okay. Although with that in mind, I'm going to give this guy some. Well, I want to give it some thickness. Now let's go give it some thickness. My perspective, press F. So now I'm left with this thing like this. Grab the faces. Control E to extrude. Push it out like so. Now I've kind of got what I need. D to repeat that tool, push it in. Okay, I'm gonna hide this. Okay, because this guy needs to be in this. Oh, it's the biggest trigger in the world! Okay, the pivot's down there, so I'm gonna go to modify, center pivot. Actually, should I put that key for that? DV X grid snap. I'm assuming it's smaller than that. Now Maya also been smart enough. I'm gonna go Alt Shift D, delete mesh tree. I'm gonna go mirror this bad boy, mirror it. So I'm left with this really weird looking thing. Tweet, motherfucker. Okay. Funny ass people in that group. Cool. Go away now. Yeah, so now I'm left with this. The cool thing is I can actually now work in symmetry. So multi-component. I'm going to turn on symmetry, object X. Go to world X. There we go. That's better. This guy can go in. E for curve snapping. Up. Hit curve snapping, bastard. Transform constraint. Edge slide. Component's actually quite a bitch. Why didn't this time file? As round as possible. For students that are watching this later, or now, or whenever in the future, I'm adding details that I'd never covered in class because of time constraints. All that shite. Slide edge thing down, so it kind of rounds it out. Okay. I want to slide edge slide now on a surface slide. just to kind of select them. Press down. Yeah, press down on my keyboard. Go down to the next. I'm just kind of doing the taper so it's not a solid ass line, 90-degree angle of this thing kind of extruding out. Stop that, Windows. So that if I look at this object now, I've got that shape that I want, and I kind of have this cool little detail in the back. Next thing I need to do is round out this tip. My surface slide off. Yeah, this that way. In edge, back, all this kind of thing.
Jordan Kamali.
Jordan Kamali. Whatever that is. Surface slide this guy. Surface slide! So good. Kind of getting there. Now I'm just, and nothing in nature is exactly 90 degrees, so I'm adding a slight bevel to this thing, or slight roundness. It's just a little bit of detail. It goes quite a long way, surprisingly, in 3D. It's things like this people don't notice when it's there, but when it's not there, they're like very quick. What's this? Go away. Well, thanks, Smith. Something about Facebook. Oh, good God, what happened there now? That's still symmetrized. Again, adding a little bit of detail. Oh, like I was saying, it's details like this that people don't notice. But the problem is, as soon as you don't have them, they're very quick to point it out and say, your models suck, it's not this and it's not that, and God knows what else. Oh, don't do that, you bastard. Reminds me of that Panda tune. Panda. Smith, while you're there, is the music too overwhelming over me chatting, or is it just right? So yeah, trying to get this round stuff, this round thing being round-ish. Throw your hands up. Okay, again, these guys I'm going to take back. Again, just rounding it out. It's the little details that count in life, I guess. That's saying God is in the details. I can go slightly down. Okay, so that's starting to look pretty cool. And what I can do as well, maybe, I grab the center guy. I'm gonna go B for soft select. Now the cool thing about soft select, it you can have it go, and it manipulates. Fuck, I hate that button so much. And now it's off. So what I'm going to do is now, it influences not just the selected vertice, but the vertices inside that selection. Holding down B, middle mouse click and drag, you can increase the area of influence. That's not doing shit. So click more. Yeah, that does stuff. That works a bit better. I'm just going. I'm grabbing the center vert now. I'm kind of pulling it out to kind of get that roundness that I want. Okay. Oh, they're too loud. What's Warsmith playing? Oh, I have to get this thing back into this window. Oh, there we go. 10%. That's a lot. Yeah, I've dropped it. So let me know how it goes. What it sounds like. Okay. Back section again. Click on see what's happening on the top here. That's gonna kind of be hidden. Well, I've dropped it by 10 or whatever now, so if that's all good now, it should be fine. I'm trying to get like a decent equilibrium, Warsmith, so that it doesn't matter what I'm playing in the background, I kind of just pull, like press play and forget about it, and everyone's happy. Fuck my life. Okay. Round. Do this round. Object mode. No. Switch off that. But now I landed with a problem. These words now needs to be symmetry. Will you? I wonder if I can get it on normal access. Normal. Dodgy. What the? I do go silent every now and then, guys. It's pretty weird trying to model and talk too much. Come on, you bloody thing. Okay. A triangle in it. I do. So what I can do is multi-cut. Drop it in there. Just fixing both triangles. How fancy is that? Edge mode. Grab that edge. That out a tad. Constraint surface slide. Just check what I do. Oh, if I go. I'm seeing some pinching happening here. Now, pinching can happen multiple ways. It's verts are too close, which in turn makes edges too close, so forth. The closer the edges, the tighter the pinch. I'm just gonna go in here and give this little grippy thingy a little bit of breathing room. Yeah. Good chin. Grab all of them. Yeah, I can. How long have I been on here? I don't even know. How long has the stream gone? Hour and a bit. What? I don't know. Supposed to be an hour and a half. I think I'm gonna do my stream limits about say 2 hours. I think there's very few people in this world who can listen to my voice for 2 hours plus. Also, I don't get too overboard with this type of overload of information. So you can kind of rewatch it if you want to, I guess. Make notes, check what you found out, what's interesting. Oh, shite. That. Okay, we'll stop bothering you. It's a bit stupid, we'll follow up on. Thanks for the input, Will Smith. Ooh. A little bit of bump, 5%, I guess. Okay. Now I think this guy should be good for now, but I want to add a little bit of cool little detail. And they probably won't see it. Is that little hole where it's going to be pivoting on? Just to show you guys how to cut holes into things. So again, I'm going to start. There's multiple ways of doing this. This is just a way that I've kind of come about it. So shift right click. I'm going to start with. No man, not anything selected. Shift right click. I'm going to start with a cylinder. Grab this guy. I'm not thinking fucking normal. Object. Focus. Rotate it towards me. I don't want that high res. We can drop it down. Wow. 12 could work. I'm gonna scale. No, don't do that. Scale it to the size of the holy. Scale it to the size of the holy moly. Yeah, make sure it's poking all the way through. Grab both of them, Alt Shift D, delete some history. I'm going to do a procedure what is referred to as bowleaning or bowlean. I'm going to cut the cylinder out of my trigger. So the selection order for this is very important. You first start with you selecting the thing you want to cut into, and then the thing you want to use to do the cutting with. Then we're going to go into modeling, mesh bowlean difference. Okay, there we see what a nice hole. Sometimes you'll have it like this. Oh, doesn't do anything different. Okay, sometimes the mesh is not here, then you just need to change the classification and kind of fixes itself. I've got a hole in there, which is quite decent. It looks quite large now. Now to find that thing, outliner. 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 Bigger. Poly cylinder. Get out of here. It still has like history attached, which is pretty cool. So by going in the outline, grabbing my cylinder, I can actually scale the cylinder and the cut will update. Okay, sometimes it's not advisable. It might make your machine crash. Yeah. Now, after adding this, we go and clean this. Outliner, go away. Yeah, so holy moly. Now to clean this thing. So I'm going to go multi-cut, fucking toolkit, multi-cut. Now again, I need to go and this edge, I've got. That guy can go away. Make sure these verts are chilling. See, there's two. Merge vertices. Only one. There only is. There could only be one. Again, I'm just going to take this to the center line because I'm going to delete half of this thing. Why must I solve it twice? There. Wow. Uh, see what happens. Another two triangles, I can do that. And quads. Flip the slide. Tweak these guys. Kinda looks good, but I don't know. Looks weird. Not all quads though. No, but with that, I mean, we'll just take the other half and just go away. Edge E W. Not the that. Like bevels, like I said many a times, there's no such thing as exactly 92 goddamn corners. Often, normal. Cool. Wireframe on shaded. There is some dodginess happening here. I got it. Playing with that transition a bit more. Maybe that helps with it. Oh, the move procedure I'm using is normals because it's basically the vert. You're moving it based on the surface direction, if I could explain it that way. Pretty cool because it will move it straight out based on its location on the mesh. W object. Mirror. Ugh. Really not liking what's happening here. Fuck off. F7. No. Oh, now I'm in a dodgy place again. What was it? F8. Oh, F8. Hey, we're getting there. We're getting there. I don't like what's happening with this stupid ass project. Perfect. Go and move this thing based on its more. A bit better. That. Yeah. The world. Oh, that's. Hey, well, let's see this guy there. Looks a tad too big. This thing is too big. A little bit of a dent there. So kind of like just so you understand how that thing fits in here. Yes, I think we're getting somewhere. Now add that object to this object to be the gears layer for now. It's all blacked out. Cool. I'm gonna just go switch off world symmetry, surface slide. So when I get back into my next part, I'm not confused what the hell is happening. Save my scene. Focus on. Oh no, I can't focus. 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 Select objects. Boom. Focus. Julia. So we're currently chilling around 844 faces, which is not too bad. Okay, guys, until next time, hopefully in a few days, I am going to continue where I left off with this. So please do like and subscribe if you do like what you saw, or if you did like what you saw. My English is terrible this evening. Okay, speak it very delicious for a couple of days for some strange reason. Okay, so I'm going to say cheers-a-roos to peeps. Until next time, go out and model something. Cheers-a-roos.